Audible presents this Brilliance audio production of
Forgiven by Karen Kingsbury. The answers were inside the brown paper sack. At least that's what everyone was telling him. Dane Matthews carried the bag inside his Malibu beach house, set it on his kitchen counter, and took a deep breath. Kelly would be gone until the next day, visiting her agent in Manhattan. Dane had all night to sort through his questions, all night to catch even a glimpse of the piece he was missing. He opened the bag and pulled out a thick, heavy book, Kabbalah, Becoming Your Own God. Dane ran his fingers over the cover. He'd gone to the Los Angeles Kabbalah Center a few times, and earlier today he'd stopped by and purchased the book, the Kabbalah Bible. He was starting to understand the stuff, and now that he'd gotten past the guilt, past the nagging inner voice accusing him of turning his back on his parents' faith, he was ready to dive deeper. A man in a white shirt and white pants had been working behind the counter. Dane had set the book on the store's counter. "This is it, right? The big book?" The man smiled, an otherworldly smile. "The answers to life are between the covers." That's all Dane needed to hear. At this point in his life, he was all questions and no answers, none at all. He was living with his current leading lady, Kelly Parker, but he didn't love her. Even so, he didn't want to break up with her. Filming for the movie started in 2 weeks. Cut it off with Kelly now and they could forget having any chemistry on camera. Dane now flipped the book over and read the inside back cover. An italicized section at the top of the page said, "Are you lacking peace? Does traditional religion leave you empty and searching? Come to the oldest truths in the world, the truths that will truly set you free." That's what he was missing, freedom. He was trapped in his life, locked in with no way out, not in the situation with Kelly and not with his biological family, the Baxters. They knew nothing about him because he needed to keep it that way. Otherwise, the paparazzi would take away his family's freedom the way they'd taken his. And what about his anger? The way he'd gone from a relaxed sort of guy who didn't get bothered by much to being mad all the time, mad at his adoptive parents for sending him away to a boarding school so they could traipse around the Indonesian jungle telling people about Jesus. Mad that they died in a plane crash when he was 18, and mad that he'd lived without any family ever since then, when the whole time he had biological parents and siblings living in Bloomington, Indiana. That was another thing. He was angry that his parents hadn't explained the whole adoption thing to him. It wasn't enough to tell a little kid that some other mother gave birth to him. What was he supposed to make of that? If he hadn't run into Luke Baxter at his attorney's office more than a year ago, he never would have known who his biological mother was at all. But he knew now. And because of the photographers, the parasites that stayed within breathing distance of him at all times, the Baxters might as well not exist. And that made him mad, too. But nothing made him angrier than the stalker who attacked Katy Hart and him last month. The lunatic fan who, because of some wild delusion, actually believed she was married to him. The woman's case was going to trial in May, and he'd have to see her again, sit across from her while he took the witness stand. He pictured her, the way she'd jumped out of the bushes, grabbing Katy and holding the knife to her throat. After that, there was no way Katy would take the starring role Dane had offered her. She couldn't wait to get back to Bloomington, where he'd found her, but the girl had captured his heart and mind and soul. She was there when he woke up, and waiting for him when he lay down at night. Sure, he had hours when she didn't come to mind, but then she'd rush back in. Never mind that she hadn't returned his phone calls or made any contact with him since she returned to Bloomington. Forget the fact that he'd probably never see her again. She was there. Nothing he could do about it. He looked at the back inside cover of the Kabbalah book again. Truths that would set him free? Yeah, he needed freedom, all right, plenty of it. Freedom from his anger and guilt and obsession with Katy.